Welcome to the Oddsbreakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Welcome back to podcast 92 of 2024. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neill. You can follow me on Twitter at OBKiev. Follow us at The Oddsbreakers. Follow us on social media / The Oddsbreakers. This episode is being brought to you by MyBookie.ag. For an up to $1,500 sign-up bonus, please visit theoddsbreakers.com/betnow. Terms, conditions, and location apply. If you'd like to support the Oddsbreakers and benefit from our premium plays, please visit theoddsbreakers.com, click shop, and become a member. Pick any for winning campers and get the premium plays before the line moves. You can also support us on Patreon.com, but if nothing else, please visit the Oddsbreakers and become a free Picks and Telegram subscriber. Another week in the books, my friends. Actually went quite well for myself. I was up in college football on Saturday. And I wasn't on Friday, though, but on Sunday I had a monster day in the NFL, up 12 units, hitting those teasers still. Man, the refuse to lose teasers like 7-3 now, something crazy. And obviously, a couple more bets going on tonight. We gave out the over, obviously, on the show with Sean Higgs last week, so hoping to hit that. We're going to have our TikTok prop released soon. And hopefully that hits as well. But I'm also playing both sides of this line with a teaser. So anything between 2 and 7.5 for a Rams victory will be wonderful. But anything away from it is going to kind of even out, maybe get juiced out. But that's what we're hoping for is that middle. So we'll see how that goes tonight. But we have a great show for you today. Just going to do the normal recap as usual. We're going to talk a little bit of box score analysis. I also want to mention that the Wednesday show won't be taped live at 12 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be most likely Tuesday night, being I have a golf outing I need to attend on Wednesday. So we're going to try to do it either Tuesday night or maybe Wednesday night. I'm kind of going to push for Tuesday night with Ron. So Ron A Sports is going to come on. We're going to talk some college football, so I'm excited for that. But anyway, college football, not a ton of massive upsets. There's a few, obviously. Georgia Tech, Miami was huge for Georgia Tech. It definitely throws things off for Miami in the playoff rankings. You know, it is hard to go undefeated in college football. It is hard, and look what BYU did last night. They should have probably lost that game, even though they outgained Utah by a lot, but went all the way down to that field goal at the end, and they ended up winning it. One of those I was like, well, I'm not going to hit my BYU bet, so please lose outright, but they didn't. Utah's played out of their minds. It was a bad spot. It was a bad bet that I made, but I did expect them to play well, but they performed well in Utah too. I think that they are still not that big of a great of a team, but I do respect what they did to fight against BYU. Alabama, LSU. I mean, that wasn't even really a game. I was semi-watching it. I was at a friend's birthday party with some TVs around, thank God. But, it was more of a blowout, really. It wasn't fun. Not fun to be an LSU fan, especially sitting there at night, in your stadium, which you're supposed to have one of the biggest home field advantages in football, and that kind of performance, Nussmeier looked awful. I was worried about my first half under just because of Bama, but thank God, Bama, their defense held LSU so much that the first half under hit and the full game under hit. So what is one of those situations? I think Alabama's probably in the playoffs. It's they still can't hiccup here, but it's looking good for them finishing out the season. I think Ole Miss might have just punched their ticket into the playoffs, and then you have Texas that's probably in the playoffs, but I'm not so sure about Georgia. Georgia lost to Ole Miss, and it was an ugly game. They're going to be like arguing with a 2-loss, maybe Indiana team or Penn State team. Depends upon who makes it to the playoffs. If neither of them make it to the playoffs, they're going to be fighting with a 1-loss Indiana or Penn State, And I don't mean to say playoffs, I mean conference championship game, because you get another loss from that. It's probably going to be Ohio State, Oregon, unless Ohio State messes up somewhere, and Ohio State's got to play Indiana. So it's going to be interesting watching where the rankings put Georgia. If they put them behind Indiana, then I don't know what they're going to say to try to go ahead of them. It would just be Indiana losing to Ohio State probably, and that would be maybe enough. But that's going to be where the controversy lies. Georgia's a decent favorite, 9.5 against Tennessee coming up here. That's a must-win for them. And then they have UMass and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech can be a little tricky, as we saw last week. So let's remember that. But it's, Georgia's not the same Georgia we remember. And losing at Ole Miss and at Alabama is not bad losses. It's just that, time to put one on somebody. I suppose that might ring a few bells. But, they're looking... This is kind of Tennessee's spot, too, to play out of their minds and try to make the playoffs, because that one loss at Arkansas looks pretty bad. But if you get blown out by Georgia, that's going to look pretty bad, too. You should finish out the season winning against UTEP and at Vanderbilt and make the playoffs. But if they lose at Georgia, I'm not sure it's going to – I think they would take Georgia over Tennessee for the playoffs. I think it's going to be one or the other. But then you have, your Colorados, your BYUs who probably win. If BYU doesn't win their conference championship, was it Kansas State? So a lot up in the air here. And I think it's just such an interesting finish here to the 12-team playoffs. I really enjoy it. But going to the NFL, so massive upset, obviously, with Carolina in Germany. Winning again, beating the Giants. And the Giants are... what Big Cat would call booty cheeks. They're booty cheeks, and so are the Jets. I just saw the stat that since 2017, the top two losing NFL teams are the Jets and the Giants. So I think Felica on his rants on Sunday night was tweeting a lot of that stuff out, which was fun to watch. Sorry for Chris that your Jets suck, but my Bears suck, Chris. It's like we both are fans of really bad teams, really bad organizations, with the Bears losing to the Patriots. I mean, that was the biggest loss, and lots of survivors lost. I cannot believe people picked the Bears this week for Survivor after how injured they were. And how could you not tell that the team is lost, that the coach has lost the team? The locker room is revolting against the coach, and now they have to play the Packers, and the Packers are 6.5-point road favorites because they own Chicago. Sadly to say that, they do. The Bears have just performed like absolute dog crap against Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Jordan Love. Super embarrassing for these Bears. And, the rest of the betting went great, except for my 49ers. Niners should have been an easy cover, but they missed a ton of field goals. There was actually a lot of field goals missed this week, and we'll go to that into our good and the bad and the ugly. But, it was... I went 4-1 in the contest. It's funny. Here's how my last 4 weeks went: 1-4, 4-1, 1-4, and now 4-1. It's like perfect 50%. Too bad for those 1-4s, but this quarterly just started, so maybe I can have an outside shot of doing okay in that. But here we are, injuries and all kinds of stuff going on for NFL. McCaffrey was back, so that was cool to see. It's going to be just a very interesting finish. How about them Cardinals too, man? Jeez. John Gannon, Coach of the Year, we gave that out last week. Thanks to Will Hill turning me on to it. I was on his show last Sunday, and wow, that was 20-1. Now it's 5.5-1. What a jump for him. There's some coaches out there like Mike Tomlin and Andy Reid that's up there, and they don't always give it to a veteran coach, but if Andy Reid goes undefeated, I could see that happening. I think they don't go undefeated, but even if with one loss, I could see that happening. I think the Chiefs need at least 2 losses here if Andy Reid's not going to get Coach of the Year. So lots of football to be played from here on out. The good, the bad, and the ugly from the weekend. Starting with the good, Jamar Chase. Holy cow, is he good. Oh, man, did he go off. And they still couldn't win the game because of, boneheaded coaching and a few things, some bad refs. But, that that was really interesting. Jamar Chase literally went off. So I thought that I think he might be the best receiver in the league. It's Jefferson and him, the two LSU guys that played with Burrow. Imagine that. Cincinnati season win total alive, under 5.5. I can't believe that's still alive after last week losing to West Virginia. They have a couple hard teams left, so that was interesting. And by the way, our Cincinnati season win total on the NFL under 10.5 is also quite well. Kansas. How about that? Both Kansas and BC off the bye cashing for us. This is why you bet teams off the bye, man. And I like it when things work. That's important when things work like that. Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin beating Georgia outright. Holy cow, that was fun. It was a rainy day. Fumbles and interceptions and things like that for Georgia. But, man, Ole Miss finally gets over the hump and the Lane train finally gets that big W. No room for error for them either, though. Colorado, man, they just keep winning and winning and winning. That was a chippy game at Texas Tech, and they ended up getting the dub by a good amount. They covered. Virginia beating Pitt. That was crazy. Virginia putting it on the road to Pitt, 7.5-point dogs. I almost bet Virginia. I was mad that I didn't. My numbers didn't say it. Virginia's been so bad this year, but Virginia coming off the bye. Or were they? I have to look. Rutgers. How about that? Our most likely dog to win outright. We gave out Rutgers 2 times on our show, and we gave it out on Fridays. Spaces that I hosted in lieu of Kyle being absent, so that was fun. Really, actually, everyone did so really well in that. All our best bets hit. 3 of our most likely dogs to win outright did, and Hawaii almost did against UNLV. Another good. Kyler Murray. Holy cow, dude. You have grown up. You are mature. You are leading this team. You don't care what anyone thinks about you, so it's working for you this way. Man, props to Kyler Murray. I was wrong about that guy. Ohio State beating Texas in hoops, college hoops. So I thought that was cool last week to see Ohio State do something in college hoops. College hoops is starting up, and we're still up, but we're on a little bit of a slide here. I'm going to have to fix that. Russell freaking Wilson, man. Oh, my God, that last pass to Mike Williams. Yeah, Mike Williams. Wonder if he can help out a team like the Jets, is what Felica texted. Wow. Russell Wilson looks awesome this year. That kind of makes Denver look a little bit weird. Now for the bad. Iowa at UCLA. Oh, my God, losing outright. I'm glad you lost outright because I laid the -6 or whatever it was with you, man. That was pathetic. Duke, North Carolina State over. That was bad because they had so many opportunities and threw interceptions and fumbled in the red zone. And, just another minute on that clock, they were going to score instead of take knees. It's just, man, just the way that lost, it was pathetic. Over 50, I had a good number in that. Texas State, Louisiana Monroe, bad beat on the over. Last second score for Louisiana Monroe backdooring that over. Sean complained about that a little bit. 49ers, field goal kicker Jake Moody. He missed 3 freaking field goals in a row, and they ended up winning by 3 points with a barely getting it in the upright winning field goal at the end. I mean, screw you, dude. That is a game that the box score was screaming for a massive win, and the Niners should have won by margin, and that was my only contest play that lost, so I was pissed about that. But also Atlanta field goal kicker Young-Ho Koo, dude, he went 1 for 4. And so I guess I have to thank that side for it because I was on the Saints. So I guess I lose one because of field goal kickers, and maybe I won one. The Saints are bad, but I think the Falcons may have covered that spread if that field goal kicker hits 3 of them, right? Brian Thomas, he was bad this week. And unfortunately, Mac Jones, return to the Mac, not so much return to the Mac this week, was absolutely freaking awful. But so is this Jaguars team. They're done. They're absolutely cooked. I'll be shocked if Doug Pearson makes it through the end of the year. And then just New York football in general is bad. Now for the ugly. Iowa just losing to UCLA was quite ugly, as you remember. How about FAU quitting on Tom Herman during the game? Those kids pretty much quit. You could tell. Oh, my God, Tom Herman's lost control of this one. Another ugly was me with my Indiana ticket, 200-1, couple of them actually, and them just almost losing to Michigan. I had the minus 11.5. I thought about buying back at 14.5. I should have. But, geez, man, that got me really nervous at the end of that. That would have been so Indiana would have had to beat Ohio State, to get into the playoffs. That would have completely blew my ticket to pieces. Now, this one is absolutely terrible. The worst beat of the weekend, I think, I was on. It was Oklahoma's under 42.5 points. The score's 9-3 deep into the third quarter. 9-3. They score 34 fourth quarter points. These two completely inept offenses, Oklahoma and Missouri, 34 fourth quarter points.
Fucking bullshit!
Fresno losing to Air Force was pretty pathetic. Fresno State. Holy cow. By the way, Air Force might be a buy-on team right now. Just throwing it out there. How about Alvin Kamara missing the game-winning catch? Now, thank God they still won. But they would have iced the game on a wide-open catch. And that thing got really, really dicey because the Atlanta got the ball back. And they could have scored a touchdown and won by 4. So then the plus 3.5 would have been dead. But thank God that Cousins fumbles the ball about 20 yards back. That helped. Refs, the spot for Washington. Man, that was a bad spot. That was a really bad spot on fourth down. Now, Washington got that first down. But I also will say that fumble by Pittsburgh, the refs should have blew that dead. It was stop forward motion for a long time. And then he was almost on the ground. The ball's ripped off. I'm like, why did you not blow the whistles there? That was very strange, too. So it's like, I'm holding Pitt plus 3 and down 6. And then thank God that they scored a Mike Williams at the very end of that game. How about Daniel Jones? How bad is this quarterback? He's toast. He's done. He is. This has got to be his last year of a starter. I don't know what the Giants are going to do. You want to lose games, so you might as well keep him in as a starter. Why put Tyrod Taylor in? But yeah, he's a terrible quarterback. Chicago Bears, just so ugly. It's just so hard to be a Bears fan because they hire idiots that think they're smart. It's like a room full of smart people, and then you have the idiot there that thinks he's the smartest person in the room. That's what you deal with as a Bears fan. It's so numbing. I think Bears fans would be the best people to hire to defend a country because they're never going to turn on you. They're never ever going to turn on the country. They're loyal, put through the worst possible situations, and that's still how loyal us Bears fans are. D'Amico Ryans. So 60-yard field goal when the game is tied, when it's 4th and 4 at the 40. What kind of a stupid play call is that? I mean, let's say you make the field goal. The Lions have 2 minutes left in all 3 timeouts. They're going to get a field goal or a touchdown. Guaranteed. It's the Lions. What you do is you get the first down. And then the Lions have to blow their timeouts, and then you have a shorter field goal or touchdown. It was just a terrible call. If you miss, the Lions might score fast and you have a shot anyway. What a terrible, boneheaded mistake from the Texans that was. And then Will Lutz, the worst freaking thing of the weekend, unless you're a Chiefs fan, is Will Lutz getting his field goal blocked at the last second for Denver Broncos to win the game.
You know what you are! Just a dirty son of a
Now it's time for a little college football. Week 11 misleading final scores. And we go right to Rice. Outgained Memphis 367 to 366, yet lost 27 to 20. Equal turnovers at one, but poor coaching got the Owls. Cincinnati outgained West Virginia 436 to 248, yet lost 32 to 24. A 3-to-1 turnover ratio got the Bearcats. Syracuse outgained Boston College 431 to 378, lost 37 to 31. Equal turnovers at one, but 10 penalties and bad fourth down. 0 for 3 got the Orange. Thank God that was our best bet. NC State was outgained 276 to 268, yet lost 29 to 19, a 2-to-1 red zone turnover ratio, and bad coaching got the Wolfpack. The Texas Tech outgained Colorado 388 to 351, yet lost 41 to 27. A gross 3-0 turnover ratio killed the Red Raiders. New Mexico State actually outgained Western Kentucky 460 to 413, yet lost 41 to 28. A 5-to-2 turnover ratio did them in. And UCF outgained ASU 406 to 260, yet lost 35 to 31. A 1-to-0 turnover ratio and bad red zone efficiency got the Knights. So did 9 penalties. And BYU outgained Utah 339 to 259, yet only won 22 to 21. They won the turnover battle 3-0, but horrible plus field efficiency hurt the Cougars. College football week 12. Betting spots, letdown spots. Rutgers at Maryland after the Minnesota win is one, and UCLA at Washington after beating Iowa outright is one. The problem is lots of teams are on bye, like Ole Miss and a few others. Get up spots. Georgia hosting Tennessee to stay relevant is huge. Say the same about Tennessee. Kansas needs to stay bowl eligible by winning outright, so they're going to be hyped against BYU. LSU better open a can at Florida. Look ahead spots, none. Couldn't find anything that really warranted one. Long rest. So Toledo off the bye with an extra few days for Central Michigan. Miami, Ohio with an extra day hosting Kent State. Eastern Michigan off the bye at Ohio. Coastal Carolina with an extra few days at Marshall. App State with an extra few days hosting James Madison. Tulsa off the bye hosting East Carolina. FAU with an extra few days doing nothing at Temple. North Carolina off the bye hosting Wake Forest. Cal with an extra day hosting Syracuse. Memphis with an extra day hosting UAB. UCLA with an extra day to celebrate at Washington. And then Akron off the bye at Northern Illinois. Arkansas off the bye hosting Texas. Auburn off the bye hosting Louisiana Monroe. Baylor off the bye at West Virginia. Buffalo off the bye hosting Ball State. Charlotte off the bye with an extra 2 days hosting South Florida. FIU off the bye at Jacksonville State. Kansas State off the bye hosting ASU. SMU off the bye hosting Boston College. Sam Houston off the bye at Kennesaw State. South Alabama off the bye at Louisiana. Texas A&M off the bye hosting New Mexico State. UMass off the bye hosting Liberty. UTSA off the bye hosting North Texas. And Wisconsin off the bye hosting Oregon. Revenge spots. I just have two that I think relevant. South Carolina hosting Missouri is one after last year's defeat. And Tennessee at Georgia. Definitely a revenge spot for Tennessee. They need to try to beat Georgia just like Ole Miss did last week. NFL. Misleading final scores from Week 10. The Bengals outgained the Ravens 470 to 389, yet lost 35 to 34. A 1-0 turnover ratio. Poor coaching and bad officiating got the Bengals. The Giants outgained the Panthers 342 to 306, yet lost 20 to 17. A 3-to-1 turnover ratio did them in. Poor quarterback play was really the key there. The Giants, Danny Dimes. He's only going to be worth a couple dimes to the open market. The Vikings outgained the Jaguars 402 to 143, yet lost 12 to 7. Equal turnovers at 3, but terrible red zone and quarterbacking for the Vikings is the reason they didn't cover. The 49ers outgained the Buccaneers 413 to 215, yet only won 23 to 20. Horrible special teams with 3 missed field goals and bad red zone killed the spread there. I was on the wrong side of that. The Falcons outgained the Saints 468 to 365, yet lost 20 to 17, a 1-0 turnover ratio, and terrible special teams with Young Ho Koo and their field goals got the Birds, and the Bills outgained the Colts 415 to 361. Yet 130 to 20. It probably should have been a little bit closer. A 4-2 turnover ratio was what got the Colts there. So the Bills didn't outgain the Colts by a ton. It's like the score was a little bit off, so I decided to mention that. NFL Week 11 betting spots, letdown spots. Saints hosting the Browns after beating Atlanta could be one. The Chiefs could remain flat after the big Denver field goal block. They're playing the Bills, so you hope not. But man, this team undefeated. The Patriots could choke hosting the Rams after the Bears win. Get up spots. The Bears need to wake up hosting the Packers. Not sure if that locker room is still giving up on their coach. Maybe they get up for one more game. Who knows? The Jets need to do something hosting the Colts. And then look at spots. Once again, none. I don't have anything for the NFL. Short rest. The Dolphins after Monday Night Football hosting the Raiders, and the Rams after Monday Night Football at the Patriots. And then you have long rest. The Bengals after Thursday night at the Chargers. The Ravens after Thursday night at the Steelers. The Browns off the bye at the Saints. The Packers off the bye at the Bears. The Raiders off the bye at the Dolphins. And the Seahawks off the bye at the 49ers. Revenge spots. Ravens at Steelers. They lost 7 in the last 8 games. The Ravens. Can you believe that? That is, I had no idea they were losing so much against the Steelers. That we'll see if they get them. The Bears hosting the Packers. Obviously, they're constantly embarrassed, but I'm not sure if that even matters with the Bears. Now, for our college football free play for Week 12. I have to check a few spreads here. I have a couple in mind. Let's see if this one's still there. It's good enough. Air Force +4. Total 45. They're hosting Oregon State. Oregon State's toast. I mean, this team, as you know, was kind of coming into the season just defeated. You know, I mean, they lost everybody, and they tried to put a case up there in the beginning, had some decent efforts, but this Oregon State team has a horrible defense, ranking 113th in success rate, 118th in EPA, but their rushing EPA on defense is 119th. Air Force is doing better now. They started off the season terrible, but they're starting to gel. They run the ball. That's what they're going to do against this terrible run defense for Oregon. Air Force is at home. So, in my opinion, this is a good spot to back Air Force. I think, they're just kind of playing for dignity right now. Neither team is bowl eligible, so that shouldn't matter. Grab Air Force plus the 4 points for 2.5 stars.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
All right, now it's time for a little fantasy football Week 11 with our guy, D Nasty. All right, now it's time to talk a little fantasy football. D Nasty's back. Dave, well, we had an interesting weekend of football, I got to tell you. Your nasty sleeper, Danny Dimes, did not come through. That's when, yeah, he played nasty. He played like a filthy nasty.
Go to the bench playing like this.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor's better at this point. This dude's
Drew Lock. Drew Lock would be the one that takes over.
I want to hire his agent, man. His agent must be
no kidding.
Amazing to get
Some
that
of the
deal.
contracts that people get these days, you got to wonder.
Makes no sense. Trevor Lawrence and everything. Jeez. That dude's a head case, too. But here we are. We're still talking fantasy. And it is week 11. I got banged up last week in fantasy, but now we got some teams that will definitely be banged up. So why don't you break down who's on bye?
All right, sounds good. First, I just want to comment on that Thursday night game. That was one of the greatest games, I think, this year that we've seen so far with the Bengals-Ravens.
Yeah.
And it was fantasy gold, actually, too, for a lot of people. I just wanted to say that was a fun game to watch. And I kind of was rooting for the Bengals in that game. I kind of wanted to pull that out. I can't believe they didn't go I can't believe they did go for 2. I would just kind of tied it up and went into overtime how they were playing. Burrow was on fire, but I just wanted to get that out there. That was a great game, and that's probably one of the better games I've seen this year. But I'll get into the buys right now, though. Cardinals. Kyler Murray actually coming off another great game this week. He had a stinker last week, but great game this week. Trey McBride, Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, probably he's not starting him, James Conner. So, yeah, there's quite a few fantasy guys on the Cardinals that you guys got to get on your bench. Chuba Hubbard with the new extension, just got a new extension. So Jonathan Brooks, who knows what he'll really do this rest of this year, but they really were feeding Chuba against the
My
Giants.
nasty sleeper in Chuba Hubbard.
Yep, he looked good. I should have took him actually. But yeah, Bryce Young's actually looking like he's the actual quarterback now. He's playing a lot better. He's still not there yet, but he's playing a lot better. So get those guys on your bench. Jatavian Sanders actually has been looking good at tight end too. So they have some young guys that are starting to play a little bit better for the Panthers. Get them all on your bench though. Leggett, in case some people were starting him, he's been coming on too. Get them on your bench. The Giants, Tyrone Tracy actually has been looking awesome. Another great game for him, over 100 yards and a touchdown again this week. Neighbors, get him on your bench. Daniel Jones, I don't think anyone's starting him. Unfortunately, he was my D-Nasty sleeper last week. He didn't look very good, but he had the great matchup. He should have looked good, but he was playing better too lately. So my bad on that part. I'll have to redeem myself this week with a D-Nasty sleeper.
I'm sure you will.
And then Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield, Rashad White, Bucky Irving. The receivers are kind of a mess right now, but get those on your bench if you were starting any of them. I doubt anyone really is. Sterling Shepard was kind of borderline. Jalen McMillan, I saw some people starting them against me this week in some leagues, but definitely Mayfield's the big one there, and then the running backs. And then actually Kate Otten has actually been playing well too at tight end there, so get them all on your bench this week.
Yep, 100%. Makes sense. Panthers and Giants is funny, but believe it or not, yeah, Malik Neighbors, they got some serious fantasy players on a couple of those teams, so you got to remember that. Especially the Cardinals, man. Oh, God, they look good.
Yeah.
They look so good right now. Key injuries, I mean, I just have really 4 of them, Dave. Dalton Kincaid with a knee injury. Tight end Ian Thomas also tight end with a knee injury for the Panthers. Sam Laporta with shoulder sprain. They're not sure if he can miss or not. And Tank Bigsby with an ankle injury for the Jaguars. That's really some good news because I didn't get a ton of injuries. What about you?
Yeah, those are most of the major ones. Dak Prescott, the only thing is update on him.
Yeah, he's
going to be placed on IR. They said he might be season-ending soldier surgery for him. So if you did pick up Cooper Rush last week, like we said, you can be sitting pretty right now. Even though Cooper Rush didn't look very good, Trey Lance played a little bit in this last game. But those are definitely the major injuries this week. The only one was Tristan Wirfs he's actually a tackle, but that's a major injury though for the Buccaneers because he's one of the best tackles in the league probably. So that's definitely going to hurt Mayfield going forward for protection wise and for the running game as well. But other than that, yeah, not many major injuries this week, which is a good thing.
Oh, nice. Well, let's move into the waiver wire then. And I got Brock Wright. I mean, if Laporta can't make it back in, Brock Wright would be the guy in the Lions. Running back Dearness Johnson for the Bigsby injury. He could be a streamer. Tight end Dawson Knox for the Kincaid injury. Remember, Dawson Knox used to be fantasy relevant. Now he might be again. Wide receiver Marcus Valdez-Scantling. And Dave, I had him on our waivers last week, if you remember. Holy cow, did he ball out this week? I mean, not a ton of targets, but still, he pulled them in and made
a couple big catches, actually.
Huge catches and touchdowns. So MVS is back, just on a new team with a very hurt Olave. That's probably ain't going to come back for a while. Wide receiver John Mechie, he's going to see more time. He earned it. He's doing pretty good. John Mechie the third for Houston. Even if Nico Collins comes back, just the Diggs injury will give him something. Third receiver maybe. Tight end Tanner Hudson for the Cincinnati. God, dude, where'd that guy come from? Is Gesicki hurt or something? That guy went off. Tanner Hudson on that Thursday night.
Gesicki's still playing. So yeah, I don't know. Gesicki was kind of quiet this past week too, even though it was a big shootout too. Yeah, but that was definitely.
Yeah, it was weird.
Nice.
Trey Benson for Arizona, just in case he's on some benches from people benching for waivers. I remember he was pre-drafted in most leagues, but Trey Benson's out there in some leagues, so check him out. He's actually right under James Conner. And if the Cardinals are going to be blowing out some fools, he's going to get a lot of garbage yards. Wide receiver Mike Williams back for the Pittsburgh, and that game-winning touchdown was sweet.
That was a nice catch.
Absolutely. He did well last week. And if Russell Wilson's out there, geez, maybe he's worth owning too. Wide receiver Jalen Coker for Carolina had 8 targets. Wide receiver Curtis Samuel, if Keon Coleman's not back, had 8 targets. And so that's my waiver wire, Dave. Who are yours?
Yeah, I like a lot of the same ones. Jalen Coker, I had him as well. I did like Russell Wilson, actually. He's still under 50% owned. Same with Drake May. He's been playing really well.
Hey, Dave, I forgot one. Audric Estime. I don't know what the hell's going on in Denver, but he had 14 carries and Javonte had like 1. I don't know whose Wheaties he pissed in. maybe the Sean Paytons. I don't know, but if for some reason it's Audric Estime's the main guy, or at least he was last week.
Yeah, that was going to be my main guy. I was going to highlight him next. Drake May, actually, if he's still out there, definitely pick him up. He's still under 50% owned. He has a good matchup against the Rams. Russell Wilson, like you said, he's looking good. I like him. Audric Estime, like you said, 14 carries, 53 yards. That backfield is a mess. I know what's going on there. I know what happened to Javonte Williams. He had a couple of nice weeks, and then now he's like nowhere to be seen now. Now they got Estime running the ball. I like Trey Benson, like you said. Jalen Warren, actually, he's under 50% owned right now. He's actually getting a lot more carries now, and he actually there's actually splitting carries with him, and he looked really good this past week as well. Gus Edwards is back off the IR. He is getting quite a few carries, and then Keaton Mitchell is a nice stash. And Marshawn Lloyd might be coming back soon too. So those are nice just stashes. They're not actually potential pickups, but per se, if you have a bench spot, definitely stash those guys. Keaton Mitchell and Marshawn Lloyd could be good coming down the later part of this year. Gus Edwards, though, too, he's getting some carries this past week too with Dobbins. Ricky Pearsall, if you didn't pick him up last week, I know we talked about him previously. Him and Noah Brown and Mike Williams, I had him as well. All three of them, they looked good this past week. Purcell actually had his first touchdown. Good for him after that injury, getting shot at the beginning of the year. He comes back and has his first touchdown this week, so congrats to him. Like that. Mike Williams, that was nice too after Rodgers dogged on him and kind of ripped on him. Nice touchdown, nice throw by Wilson, like we just said. I really like that. Taysom Hill, if he's still owned out there. Will Dissly, he's coming back now off the bye. He's got a matchup against the Bengals, so that's a nice matchup. And guess what? One of the defenses I would like to stream this week, the Green Bay Packers. And guess who they're playing? The Bears.
I don't disagree, man. Something's going on in the Bears locker room that I just can't explain. It's they look good some games. What the hell is going on? The team quit on Eberflus, and I don't know why.
They totally quit on him.
Yeah, Poles is not making a move either. It's like the team quit. No. Do they show up because it's Green Bay? I don't know. The Bears are stay away right now until further notice. Totally agree.
Actually, one other pickup too. The guy I talked about last week that was going to get traded. He actually did get traded. Khalil Herbert from the Bears did get traded to the Bengals. He didn't really play much this past week just because he just got traded. But he's a guy you want to keep an eye on though too because he's going to be the second back now there with Moss on IR. So there's only going to be Chase Brown as a starter, but he's going to definitely be getting carries these next couple of weeks once he gets up to speed on the offense. So definitely got to keep an eye on and possible stash candidate.
I quick added him last week on Tuesday in the trade deadline. We didn't talk about him on Monday as much. You mentioned him, but then I was like, okay, we got to add this guy. He was actually traded, so that was a good call, Dave. Why don't you get in your sleepers?
All right, some guys trending up this week. I like Devontae Wicks against the Bears, of course. The Bears, they've been struggling lately, like you said. I think they did quit on their coach, actually. Eberflus is not the answer there. I think he's definitely one of the next guys that could get canned here. McCarthy should get canned, but he's not because his contract expires at the end of the year, so they're going to let him ride it out, I think. But both those guys are definitely on the hot seat. I like those guys trending up this week. Commanders, I like Brian Robinson if he comes back. I think he's trending up against the Eagles this week. I like that matchup too. Some other guys here. Gardner Minshew, I like him against the Dolphins. Dolphins have looked good tonight, actually, on the Monday night game. Sean has looked really good, but definitely he's turning him anyways. But I like Minshew against the Dolphins. I think he could have a decent game against the Dolphins. He's coming off a bye, too, so I think he's a guy I like this week. Another guy I like Jameis Winston. I like him against the Saints. Saints defense isn't like what it used to be. The run D is still good, but I like Jameis Winston against them, though, this week. I like that matchup. I like Sam Darnold to bounce back this week. He had a stinker this past week against the Titans. This last week. Sam Darnold didn't play very well. They're the worst, probably 7-2 team out there, I think. But I think he bounces back this week against the Titans. I think Sam Darnold could actually be somewhat startable this week against the Titans. Their pass D is not that good, but the run D is really good for the Titans. And then some other guys too. Actually, I don't like it. There's a lot of tough matchups actually this week, so I don't really like a lot of these other teams this week. I like C.J. Stroud against the Cowboys. Actually, I really like him this week. I think he has finally a good game. I think Nico Collins comes back this week too, and I think C.J. Stroud actually bounces back into his form actually, like he should be playing against the Cowboys' poor D too.
Yeah, yep, C.J. Stroud for sure. I agree. Mike Williams against Baltimore's D is going to be big again. I think he's going to get another big deep pass. Yeah. Like him, Jordan Love for sure. I don't know if he's a starter or not. He's kind of borderline-ish, but I think so.
Jordan Love's a starter.
Is he? Okay, maybe in like a 20-team league, the 20-team league.
What? He's a top 10 quarterback.
Jameson Williams against the Jaguars pass D will be massive. Jameson Williams will be back with the Lions like that. Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, I think against the Colts will be good. I hate to say it, he's a nut job, but he probably will just like have one good game and three bad ones. Just 1-3, 1-3. You know, it's kind of like how he rolls. Wide receiver Elijah Moore at the Saints for Cleveland should be good. Wide receiver Juwan Jennings against the Seahawks may be nice. Juwan Jennings will get a lot of yards against the Seahawks. Wide receiver Tank Dell against the Cowboys. Oh man, the Cowboys are so screwed, dude. They're so done. Maybe
when I forgot, I like Bo Nix actually against the Falcons. He's actually been balling out actually lately. 2 TDs this past week against the Chiefs too. Actually, I benched him in one of my leagues because I didn't think he'd do well, but he has a better matchup this week against the Falcons. I think Bo Nix could be a nice guy.
He's like a high floor, low ceiling guy.
Yeah,
he doesn't give you like 4 or 5 touchdowns, but you know he's going to get enough fantasy points just to get through sometimes. So I do agree with that. Like Russell Wilson, like we said, I think he's going to be another sleeper this week. And then Raheem Mostert against the Raiders, although I might delete him. He's having but everything's going to Achin now. Yeah, I'm going to delete. I wrote this before watching this Miami, a little bit of this game. I was watching.
Mostert's only got like 1 catch, I think, tonight, actually. I don't even know if he's got any carries yet.
He's got a catch for 9 yards, and I bet his prop over 7.5. Thank God he just can't take a loss on a catch. So that's what I'm hoping for. That moves us into bus. I'm going to start with Najee Harris against the Ravens. That's not good. I think it's going to be all through the air if they're going to score on the Ravens. Running back Tony Pollard against the Vikings is rough too. So Tony Pollard might be not the good choice with the Titans this week. Running back Javonte Williams. So like I said, he might have lost his job. So I'm done with him. Running back Derrick Henry against the Steelers is kind of tough too, believe it or not. I don't know if you're benching Henry, but you know, if it's a 10 team.
He's a must start, but yeah, he's definitely. He's not going to have a great game this week against Steelers. They're tough D, but yeah, I agree. He's a must start still, no matter what.
If it's a 10-team league, maybe benchable, but you have to be stacked at running back. Running back J.K. Dobbins, I think, will be a bust against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's done a lot better against the run, just against the pass. They're not doing so good. Jordan Addison against the Titans, though. I don't like Jordan Addison this week against the Titans. I don't like Sam Darnold against the Titans either. Titans, that's all they have is a defense. They don't have any offense. Hate to say it, man. I'm a CeeDee Lamb owner, and they're playing the Texans, and he's kind of banged up, and it's not going to look good for CeeDee Lamb with no Dak. It's these quarterbacks, Cooper Rush and Trey Lance, horrible, just trash.
Both garbage.
Agreed. What about you with Bus?
No, I agree. I agree with the Cowboys. I don't like Cooper Rush or Lamb. I'm definitely downgrading them. Texans' defense has been playing better. I think they actually have a decent defense, but the Cowboys are just horrible anyway. So they're gonna make that defense look even better. I agree with you on the matchup against the Chargers. Chargers have a good D. Burrow's still gonna get his, but I don't like Chase Brown against them. I'm downgrading him. I think the Chargers D is pretty tough. I don't like Dobbins either. I agree with you on that one, especially with Edwards back too. Edwards is gonna be vulturing carries now too. So I don't like that. James Cook, actually, the Chiefs have a really good defense. So downgrading him, even though he's kind of like a Derrick Henry, he's a must start probably right now. But I'm definitely downgrading him, though, against the Chiefs D because their defense has been playing really well. I don't like Geno Smith against the 49ers. 49ers D hasn't been playing that well, but I think they still can play better. And they're playing at San Francisco. So I don't like Geno Smith against them, especially coming off the bye, too, even though they should be better off the bye. But I don't like that matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you on the Titans too. The Vikings actually have a pretty good defense. Actually, they were. I don't like that matchup either. So I'm downgrading Aaron Jones against the Titans on that one. Or actually, I'm sorry, I'm downgrading the whole Titans offense because they don't look good. Even Ridley had a nice game this past week, but I don't think they do well against the Vikings this week. I don't like anyone that. I agree with you. No, I don't agree with you on the Henry one. I think Henry still has a good game against the Steelers. But I don't like Russell Wilson against them or the Najee Harris. Walter's D's been playing better. I'm definitely downgrading them. Alvin Kamara, I'm downgrading him against the tough Browns D. They have a good run defense still. Our pass D's not that good, but the run D is still good. Downgrading him. And then Jaguars, the Lions D is actually pretty legit. So they've actually got like a top 10 defense now. I think it might even be top 5. But the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence looks lost. I don't even know if he plays this week. That's another injury we forgot to cover. He didn't play this last week. He was out. I think it was his shoulder, his non-throwing shoulder. So he didn't play this past week. So keep an eye on that one this week. I don't like that matchup. I don't like the Bears this week against the Packers. I think they're just quitting on the coach, like you said. Caleb struggled this past week. I don't like him. He's probably not a borderline starter right now anyways, but definitely downgrading him as well.
Yeah, 100% agree with those. Nasty sleeper time, Dave. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'm going Jordan Love. He said he's not a starter, so I'm going Jordan Love.
I said he's borderline.
So if he's borderline, I'm going to him as my D-Nasty sleeper then. I like Jordan Love against the Bears.
Oh, that's going to be a big one then. I'm actually going quarterback as well, and it's not Caleb Williams. It's Jameis Winston. This is the week he does good. He's good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. And he's playing his old team, the Saints.
Oh, he's going to be jacked.
He's going to be pumped up for this game. New Orleans traded Lattimore. Their defense is terrible. Off the bye. Oh, dude, this is Jameis all over the place, man. This is Jameis Winston all over the place. I think he has a massive game. And then fade him again the next week.
Yeah, exactly. He's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that pick. Yeah, I like Jameis a lot this week.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. Anything else that we missed?
No, like I said, the Trevor Lawrence injury, keep an eye on that. That's one thing we didn't mention on our injuries. He didn't play this past week. He was a last-minute scratch. So keep an eye on that. And get those guys off that are on the buys out of your lineups this week as well. And good luck.
Yep. Get best of luck in your fantasy football. If you have any questions for us, feel free to tweet us at The Oddsbreakers. Email us at info@theoddsbreakers.com. Have a great rest of your week and go get some winners.